I'm reading this book, and in it, the main character, he can't recognize faces. He has something going on in his brain that doesn't allow him to have the same capabilities that most of us have to recognize a face and say, oh, that's John. Oh, that's Sarah. That's Frederick. I was having so much fun exploring what that would be like that I really didn't want to look up whether it was actually a real thing or not, because if it wasn't a real thing, it was going to totally ruin my experience with the book. I have heard from someone who said it was a real thing. So, according to that someone, it may or may not be a real thing. So what will happen is he sort of has to start recognizing people by other means, right? He can't just rely on the face to tell him who that person is. So he'll pick on small little mannerisms that we would probably never notice. Maybe the way they carry themselves, the way they walk, the way they laugh, the sound of their voice. All these different clues. But if he's just running down the beach, he's a runner, he runs a lot. If he's just running down the beach and he just glances over, he could go right by someone he knows. And this happens, he starts dating. I don't know if they already started dating, but he sort of starts talking to this girl, and he runs by her on the beach. And the next time he sees her, she's like, yo, you serious? You're just gonna run by me and not say anything, not come by and say hi? And he honestly didn't see her. And I think that's when he explains the thing to her. And, I think earlier in life, he was very, forthcoming with it and being the first time he met someone, he would tell them to avoid that very thing happening. But at a certain point, he started sort of being you know what, I don't owe these people anything. If I don't recognize them, I don't recognize them. And sure, he tells people eventually, once he gets to know them, but it's not something he feels the need to include in an opening conversation with anyone every single time. So it does end up happening, right, from time to time where he won't recognize someone, they'll get all upset, and sometimes he won't even tell them about the condition. And it seems like kind of a dick thing to do, but at the same time, I don't know, you gotta kind of see it from his shoes, I guess. He's got this, I don't know, I kind of agree with that idea that he doesn't owe the world this. And I mean, to a certain extent, isn't it other people's fault as well for not being memorable? If they had that much force, that much uniqueness, that much differentness, he would remember them. If anything, it should be seen as a sort of test. Make sure this guy can recognize you after first meeting you, or else you probably have nothing unique about you and should probably work on that. I was thinking there's something about it that seems almost kind of liberating. You know, when you're in a foreign country or in some city very far from your hometown, and you can just walk the streets in just complete anonymity without the slightest fear that someone's going to recognize you, someone's going to call out your name. You're just, you take on this invisibleness. It's really, right, to a certain extent in your hometown, even if, you feel the pressure, the gaze of the people you know, right, to be a normal person. Even if they're not directly in your vicinity, even if you don't see them, even if you're just out in town and you don't see anyone you still know that the chance of there being someone right around the corner is there. And to a certain extent, I wonder if this condition would give you, to a certain extent, that feeling of being in a foreign country and I know no one here all the time. Maybe it wouldn't, but maybe it would. There's something freeing about that, or that seems like it might be. And on the other hand, of course, there's the cases where you need to recognize someone and causing a whole load of stress that a normal, I don't know, but a person who doesn't have this would never even imagine having to deal with. For example, the same girl, the girl he starts dating, she has to work one day, so he tells her he's gonna go pick up her son from school. He's only met the kid once. So he walks up to the school, the kids are coming out of the class or whatever, and there's this moment of panic, I only met this kid once. How in the world am I gonna, what do I do here? But sure enough, the kid, even though they've only met one time, comes running up to him with his little SpongeBob backpack and starts talking to him. And all's well that ends. That particular detail really struck me, the SpongeBob backpack. This is a book by a Brazilian author written in Brazil that takes place in Brazil. And it's kind of a remote part of Brazil, like this small little... It might actually be in Argentina. No, it's still in Brazil. But it's like a very remote part of Brazil, and yet you still see SpongeBob backpacks worn by 5-year-olds all the way over there. It's kind of crazy how small the world becomes when SpongeBob can reach every single corner of it. It got me thinking about just how we sort of take for granted, and how it's kind of a crazy ability if you think about it, to be able to recognize any face just pretty much instantly. I mean, if you saw the face of any of the thousands and thousands of people you've met over the course of your life, you would recognize them pretty much instantly, even if you only met them briefly. Sure, if they've aged 20 years and they look completely different, you wouldn't, but if you saw a picture of them from back when you knew them, when you think about all the faces you have recorded in your mind, all the famous people, it's so many, and barring one or two, I mean, the ability to notice the differences and just instantly feel who that is, it's kind of crazy. And I was thinking, like, we look at other faces, like the faces of lions and squirrels, and they all look exactly the same. And I was like, to other animals, like, are human faces just as similar? Like, are they just as similar as two lions' faces to us? Turns out no. Humans actually do have uniquely unique faces in terms of the differences, the bone structure, the proportions, and it's for that very reason. So that we can instantly know, oh, that's Sam over there, let's take a left turn before he sees us. But I was curious, like, okay, so humans have this unique thing where we're really good at faces. How do other animals distinguish themselves? So I found some interesting ones. So penguins raise chicks in these colonies of tens of thousands of penguins, and their vocal sounds, it's like a thumbprint. What are those things called? Thumbprint? Among all these voices, it can instantly be recognized, which sounds impossible. But if you think about it, even for us, like if we're at a crowded restaurant, or we're at a crowded shopping mall, or crowded airport, tons of voices talking, and you're looking for, say, your mom and your sister, and you hear them having a conversation behind you, you're gonna pretty much instantly recognize their voices. I guess what's different is the penguins just going like squawk, squawk, or whatever noise penguins make. So it feels like there isn't that much difference in one squawk to another, but apparently there is. Okay, this is not real. Apparently elephants use infrasonic rumbles. They can recognize each other by low-frequency rumbles that travel several kilometers. They can carry identity cues such as age and even emotional state. That's not real. That makes being an elephant sound a lot more fun. I was worried about reincarnation and my time as an elephant, but honestly, I'm looking forward to that. Alright, what are some other unique ones? Oh, there's paper wasps. I don't know what a paper wasp is. Probably a wasp that looks like paper. But some of them actually they do the human thing. They have unique markings, like a face, that they can actually distinguish. And bees apparently use cuticular hydrocarbons. It's like chemicals on their outer chemicals on them that are uniquely coded. Right, so the guards at the entrance of the hive can smell and be like, oh, those chemicals are good, or like, no, you're not one of us. Which begs the question, if you were to rub those chemicals on, say, something that wasn't a bee, like, say, a beetle, would the beetle get let in? Is there a certain point at which, even if the smells were there, they would, like if you put it on a human, the guards let the human in? Or is there a certain point at which it's like, alright, you smell like a bee, but you are not a bee. Someone should do that experiment. They probably have.